We are apparently live.
We are live.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Johnny Ray, and this is 5R Recovery. You want me to do the intro?
Yes.
You really want me to do the intro?
I love the intro. I love our intro.
Another episode of For Addicts, From Addicts, real, raw, unedited, and unprepared testimonies and live stories from people who have gone through the active addiction and have pulled themselves out on the other side. So we've been going live for a couple weeks now.
Exciting.
Yeah,
exciting.
About 3 weeks now. I'm really digging it. I like live.
Yep.
I like things like raw and unprepared. It looks like Fat Pat's already on there. Hi,
Hey,
Pat. First want to comment on the meeting and let's start it. Okay, I don't know what that means.
Okay, bossy.
Okay, yeah. Way to take control.
Right.
Yeah, Pat being in our group from last week, he was really, really awesome. I like live because, like I said, it's raw, it's unedited, it's unprepared. We don't have any producers behind us or anything. And I am sloppy tired tonight.
He's very, very tired. He's low energy. This is the lowest energy I've ever seen Johnny Ray, and it's tripping me out.
And I'm sloppy. I feel gross. And I was worried about fixing myself up before we went live. I was like, okay, I need a haircut. I need to shave my face. I've worn the same sweatshirt for like 3 days. I'm exhausted and wore out. But today we have to go live because today's a special day. Why is it a special day?
Today is my 3 years. 2819.
Today is Amanda's 3-year clean, which is amazing. If you are in recovery, you know that as we get on without the years, some years are easier, some years are tougher. But man, when you're getting in recovery through COVID, when you're getting and staying clean during some of the most difficult times in our life, it is absolutely amazing. It looks like Luella. Yay, congratulations.
Hi,
thank you, Lou.
My sister.
Hi, sister.
Hi.
We've never met personally. I hope to someday meet you.
They're up in Bellingham.
Amanda plays a very huge role in 5R Recovery. She does a lot for us. She cares for people. I'm going to put my hand down. I got some criticism from the last couple videos, mainly from my dad. He's like, quit touching your face. I told him I'm a tweaker.
It happens.
Give me a break. All right. I'm not here to be perfect.
No.
We're here to bring live videos to you so that people can have recovery in their living room. We want people to be able to chime in and talk about things that are uncomfortable. Yeah. Maybe they feel alone. Isolation was always a thing for me.
Bad for me too. That was like how I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah. It was one of those things where if I knew it's a telltale sign if I'm in active addiction is if I'm isolating.
Absolutely.
If you don't hear from me for a while, that's a problem. It's a good flag, and I think it's yours the same.
It is a flag for me too. It's one of my tell signs that I'm in trouble. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily in a relapse. It just means that I'm in a frame of mind that could possibly lead to a relapse.
Right.
You're really good about reaching out if you don't hear from me. Sometimes, life gets busy and I don't mean to. I'm so glad that I have.
Lou said ex-tweaker.
Ex-tweaker. I know. He always got to put the ex-tweaker.
Tweaker, but sober, Lou.
Yeah, right,
Sorry,
right.
don't.
He's owns it proudly. I love it.
Ex-tweaker.
I know. I love it.
But and that's the thing is reach out. We at 5R, we want to notice those things, Definitely. In all recovery, people notice those things. Isolation is truly bad, especially for people who lack community. We're all about community and connection. I've asked Amanda to share her testimony tonight. I was going to do the whole live and ask questions, and that's fine. We'll still answer questions and we'll still interact. It looks like Fat Pat said meeting. I was at the first one in the meeting. Laugh aloud. Congratulations on Amanda having 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Maybe I'm trying not to squint like we did last time. Yeah. Last time I was all zooming in like with my face and like my nose takes up half the screen because I have this like large.
Is that Randy?
I don't know who that is.
I think that's one of my closest friends. I think it is.
Awesome. RJ Raz. Raz.
Yeah,
29.
Sure
awesome. Thank you for chiming in. So if you guys want, if you guys are open for it, I want Amanda to share her testimony today.
Super nervous this time.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah,
and if questions come up, if you want to ask Amanda some questions, she's one of the most real, raw people I've ever met. And I truly believe she was the missing piece to 5R recovery. That's a very important thing for people to understand. Her ability to be able to talk to anybody. She doesn't get scared to be in difficult situations. Recovery is not all cakewalk. We encounter people all the time who struggle in some very crazy and unfortunate mental health problems. We are in danger sometimes.
Yep.
So Amanda's one of those true pioneers where she's like, you know what, Johnny, whatever we want to do, let's do this and let's take this on. And I'm very, very blessed to have her in my life. So without further ado, Amanda, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Johnny. I'm like super humbled. Thank you. I'm
gonna go get my buddy Kyle, who might make a guest appearance.
Thank you, Lou. Hi, Gracie. My daughter's on.
If you want.
Okay, I'm gonna center myself. So bear with me, guys. All right, so I'm a little nervous this time. Normally when we go on the camera, I'm not nervous. I'm pretty, hello, Wendy. It's pretty not shy on the camera. But telling my story is extremely personal, and being vulnerable is still something I struggle with greatly. 3 years later, it's something I'm working on. So addiction and alcoholism run in my family, as it does so many of us. Thank you, Wendy. I love you, lady. Haven't seen your face in a while. But it runs both sides of my families, and it's been something that I've struggled with since I was probably 18 or 19. I didn't know it then that I had a, addiction switch that had been flipped, but I'd had, my second back surgery by the age of 19. And that was during the pharma era, where they were prescribing just countless amounts of pills for people that should have never been on those combination of medications. And it just became so easy to cope with anything that life was throwing at me by taking a couple pills. Well, a couple pills turned into four turned into 6. And before you know it, you're constantly out of your prescription. Your doctors are starting to, see that you're asking a little too soon, and you're getting red flagged, and you're starting to buy them on the streets. And that's kind of how it went for me. I've had periods of being clean. I've had different, when I was pregnant with my daughter, when, her first, years of her life until she was like 5, or 4. I mean, I was clean for a good significant time, and I was clean about the time she was 6 for about 4 years. But I never worked a program. And so I inevitably, when a bunch of loss happened, our Nana passed away, who, rest in peace, Nana, like that was a really devastating blow on our family. She was the glue that held us together. She was our everything. And she passed away. And 2 weeks later, my grandfather passed away. And then I had my friend that was brutally murdered. It was a high profile case, all over the news, the radio. And I had to explain to my daughter why he was just at our house the day before he went missing. And it was just a progression of things. And when you don't work a program, and you don't have a sober support system to call on when that shit's happening, like, you're going to go back to old ways. I wanted to cope. I wanted to sleep. I didn't want to feel pain. I didn't want to cry anymore. And I just returned to active addiction. Well, the pharmaceuticals, like, the oxy days were coming to an end. And there was this thing out there called heroin. And I love 5R because I want to make this, I got to do a trigger warning here for any of you who may be easily triggered. Please know that I will be drug specific in telling my story. I feel it's crucial in having a understanding of what I'm talking about, where I was at and where I came from. Every drug has a stigma that comes with it. Not that I'm trying to be, play into those stigmas. I'm just trying to let you know my personal story. Therefore, I am very drug specific, and I will be very candid and open about the things that I've been through, which might be hard for some of my family members to hear, because I don't talk about a lot of the dangerous situations that I put myself into, because it's hard for them, and I think sitting here now and they see me now, 3 years later, I feel like we can become, a little bit more open and honest about, the things that I had put myself in the situation. So get back to where I was at. So I relapsed on heroin. All I wanted to do, hey, thank you, Jody Ray. Is that your stepmom? Yes, thank you. Hopefully I get to meet her soon too. So I decided that I was going to get some heroin, and I had no idea how to use it. I was a complete joke of an experience, but it was as if that next day I woke up and I had put myself back in withdrawal. It was like I had never been clean for 4 years. That switch in my head immediately sent me back to as if I was using consistently every single day for the last 4 years, which blew my mind. That, I think, is kind of where my head wrapped around the fact that there was something bigger. And I've only ever wanted to know. Oh, I love you, sister. You're gonna make me cry. I am fortunate. I have so much support around me. It's crazy that the very people that I pushed away in my addiction are the ones that were always there. I cannot believe that I ever gave up my family for people that I thought were like family. I mean, I spent more time with my street family who didn't give a shit about me, honestly, but because they were in the same situation I was in, they were like, I felt like my family didn't understand. And, accountability looks a lot like an attack when you're not really ready to stand up and be responsible. So my family completely, was making me be held accountable. They gave me tough love. Hey, Dan, giving me tough love. They weren't having it. And so I didn't want to hear what they had to say. I wanted to push back and do it my way and let it, I have this in control. I can do this my way. So heroin grabbed me real quick. It grabbed me within 24 hours of doing it for the first time. I was a functioning addict for several years. And when I say functioning, I was still a PTA member. I was still attending my daughter's school functions. I was still the chaperone on the field trips. But at home, I was in the closet getting high on heroin. And, we're always, thank you, Dan, I love you too. We're always as good as we are. I mean, we always say we're fine until we're not, right? And so that kind of was what happened. Like, things just started to progressively spin out of control. I one by one lost my job. I was working 2 jobs at the time too. And I was pretty okay. I mean, I've never been rich by any means, but I was comfortable. We had taken vacation. I had money to do things. I wasn't struggling, like you do when you're in active addiction. And I was doing okay. And then my comfortability got taken from me little by little. I was getting pulled over continuously for not having a driver's license. I was stacking speeding tickets and driving on a suspended up like crazy. I was getting pulled over with my kid in the car and having them, get her hysterical. Just making stupid choices and decisions. And it ultimately got attention with my family and the persons that I was staying with. And, I allowed some people to come into his home and steal from him. And I didn't want them to get in trouble. So I stood up and said it was me. So this man who had trusted me and his family, we were friends. His brother and I were friends. His brother and I had, been in active addiction, but we were fighting our sobriety together, coming off the oxys and stuff. All of a sudden now I have betrayed him on every level. And he had enough of it. I mean, there had been other instances that had happened and he finally had kicked me out on my ass. And that's when I became homeless. He allowed my child to stay though, because that was her stable environment. And I'm so grateful to him for doing that. Him and his family took amazing care of my kid. And it's because of him that CPS did not get involved in Taker. So I'm very grateful that that's not a part of my story. Although, that was a very hard, situation for me to be without her. My family stepped in from Bellingham and took her up there for a year. That was a really hard thing on us both. We'd never been apart. My daughter, and it's been me and her since day one. She didn't know anything different. And that's when I think that she was finally aware of the fact that mom wasn't okay. And from that moment on, it switched this relationship between her and I. It went from where I was the mother taking care of her to now she was trying to take care of me. I remember her telling me that people were talking bad about me and the family and she was defending me to them. And, I understood her position and it hurt my heart that she had to do that, because I kind of remember back when my dad was drinking that I did the same thing with my dad. I defended him. I felt the need to be defensive for my father. I'd go home with my mom for the weeks and I remember worrying and laying in bed and crying myself to sleep, wondering if my dad was drinking and driving. And well, I had done that to my kid, and so that really, really, really frustrated me. But the more that I felt these pains and these aches, the more I spun out of control in my addiction. And the more my addiction wasn't soothing those aches and pains anymore, when my identity as a mom was taken from me because I wasn't with her 24/7, I was no longer being a full-time mom. I felt like the biggest piece of shit in the world. I felt like everything that I had was gone. And that for me was a pivotal moment, because that is when I just lost the will to even give a shit. I spiraled out of control. I had a collision course with death and I didn't care. I put myself in a lot of dangerous situations. I've been shot at. I've been held at knife point. I've been, threatened to be beat up. I've been confronted for things that other people have done that I didn't have any part of. I wasn't a no, but because I was an easy target, they came at me. And I started turning to the needle. I no longer was smoking heroin. I was shooting up. And that for me was the point of no return. And I knew it. And I had waited to ever try. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it because I knew I would love it. And the way I felt that first time that I did that shot is exactly why I had stayed away from it for so long. That became my best friend, my toxic best friend. And I would have done anything for it. And I did do a lot of things that I'm not proud of for it. And it doesn't really matter. Like the things that I've done, we've all been there. Every addict has been in a position where the addiction themselves has made you somebody that you're not. You've had to do things to gain your fix that you would not do normally, that you're not proud of. I'm normally a pretty honest person, and my entire family and friends, I have never had to worry about me stealing from them. Right. But I was balls to the wall, taking carts of crap out of Walmart, thousands of dollars here, thousands of dollars there. And that was my hustle. And I'm not proud of that by any means. I'm laughing because now sitting here sober, I would never do that. Like I watch somebody I think is shoplifting and my heart starts racing for them. Like, oh, they're going to get caught. I just would never do that on a normal basis, but you have to do what you got to do to survive. And the other options just weren't going to be options for me. So my family had pretty much made it clear that until I got better, hey, thanks, Zoe. I love you too. Until they had, I got clean. They wanted nothing to do with it. I'm like, I don't know. Until they wanted nothing to do with me until I got clean. And my daughter pretty much had told me the same thing. And she hated me and she made it known. And she had every right to. I was a shitty person at that time. I was a liar. I was a manipulator. I was a drug addict. And I was doing things that I wouldn't normally do. I had no place to live. There was nothing good going for me. I had nothing to live for. And fast forward to probably 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago. I was, hi, honey, I love you. you always miss me talking about you, Gracie. You always tune back in after I'm done talking about you. But so I made some poor choices and decisions. We happened to be on the run with my boyfriend at the time. And when we got hemmed up, we were pulled out at, and when I say gunpoint, that's an understatement. It was like a felony stop I had never seen before. And it terrified me because I just thought we were going to get shot. And I thought that I thought that was the end. I just thought that was the end of us right then and there. Well, I had been so codependent on the streets. And when you are in a relationship on the streets with somebody, that relationship is, I don't know how to say it. You trauma bond. That's what you do. You trauma bond and you become extremely codependent on each other. There is love there. There's some potential to have a healthy relationship, but because you are so trauma bond, the toxic environment that you're in and the toxic traits that you have on a daily basis, you are just toxic for each other. I caused him pain. He caused me pain. But to this day, like I've had the chance to make amends and vice versa. And that's amazing. But at the time when he went to prison, I was completely alone. I had nobody. This was exactly around the time my daughter didn't want anything to do with me anymore. And my family was no longer speaking to me. And my father was diagnosed with cancer. And he started his cancer treatments. And my dad and I've been close with all my parents and my siblings. Like we come from a very close family. We've always depended on each other and helped each other out. My Nana raised us that you don't get other people involved. You deal with family things within the family and you help each other out. And so for them to tell me that they wanted nothing to do with me, I was a slap in the face. Like, how could I be so bad that you don't want something to do with me? I just wasn't ready to face the fact of what I had become. I mean, kind of hard to do when you won't even look at yourself in the mirror, honestly. And I did that on purpose. So I was alone. I found myself completely alone on the streets and being a female alone on the streets. And when I say alone, I mean alone. Being a female alone on the streets, I don't recommend it. I started out in a tent on 86 acres. And that's when my family reported me missing. And I was out there and I had a death wish. I did not want to live. I had nothing to live for. So I thought, and in my head, I thought I was doing everybody a favor by having them bury me, then wonder where I was at. And so I was continuously upping my dosage of medication that I was doing. And thank God that I had a very hard time. I was never a good shooter and I had a very hard time shooting up or I would be dead. And I feel like that is the one thing that saved my life during that time, because the amount of drugs that I was trying to put into my system would have killed me instantly and nobody would have found me for days. I didn't care. I did not care. People would ask me, aren't you afraid of the animals out there? What about coyotes and bears? I don't care. I really wish they would come in my tent. I wanted to fight them. I really did, just because I wanted to go out. What a cool way to go out, right? Never in my life have I had such despair and hopelessness. And so somebody saw me out there. They had reported to my family. And I had a dear friend of mine who I believe, he's the reason he saved my life. And Dave called one of my best friend, Zoe, and said, you need to get her the hell out of here. I cannot watch her die. You need to come and get her. And she came out right away. And she said, listen, you can't do that shit at my house. But if you want to come to my house, you have a place to stay, but you got to get your shit together. And so I said, okay, I was willing to give it a try at that point because somebody had come out there to help me. And I felt the need to give it a chance. So I went and lived with her, and I did not work a program during that time. I got on Suboxone temporarily. I got a job. I was working a lot. But within a matter of probably 4 months, my toxic traits were slipping back up and I was secretly using heroin again. I didn't want to put that on her. She had welcomed me into her home with her kids, her family, and I shouldn't have been there, for, other reasons. And I didn't want to give her in trouble. So I took off and I went right back into my addiction. And I tell you right now, that is where everything spun out of control for me. If I thought I was at desperation before, this is where desperation showed me otherwise. For that entire year, I spiraled so fast out of control. And anything that I worked for during that time at staying at her house, I had lost completely. And I had lost my daughter's respect because now I have disappointed her. Now, this was like the second time that I was supposed to get my shit together, and I went right back out into addiction, and no longer was she going to take my word for shit. She didn't believe anything that I said. Her anger for me was so much and so, so deep that it hurt me to my absolute core. I still couldn't stop. Everybody says, well, if you love your family, if you love your kids, I can't imagine why mothers do drugs. If you love your kids, man, we love our families so much that the pain of what we've done to them is too much to live with. And that is why we keep using. It's not because we love the drug more than them. It's because we don't know how to stop. We don't know that there's a different way. And Gracie, I'm famous. I'm the daughter. I love you, kid.
Hey, plug your other video.
Hey, yes, a good time to plug our video. If you haven't seen Gracie and I's video yet, if you want to on this channel, YouTube channel, it's about mothers or parents in addiction and kids in addiction. It's from a perspective of a child and what she went through and what it did to our relationship, and then how we slowly started to recover from that as I got into recovery. So check that out. It's on YouTube as well. And it just says Amanda and Gracie. Amanda Gracie, right? That's what I think it said. Yeah. And it's a really cool video, and it just gives a good perspective for parents on, what it does to our children, because I feel like we have to own that shit. Like, the number one thing for her was I needed to validate everything she felt and everything that I had done. No more excuses, no more lies, no more bullshit. I had to tell her straight up that I was sorry and show her with my actions. And it took time, and I'm just grateful she gave me that opportunity, So I spun out of control. I at this point, I didn't give a shit. I was just waiting to die, you guys. And I was hoping that I died. I was living on a trap house out on 92 in a rundown motorhome that was dilapidated. It had holes in it. It was winter time, and it had snowed so bad, and it was snowing so bad. And then it would ice over, snow so bad, ice over. And the shade carpet in this old ass motorhome had about an inch of ice on it. That is how cold it was. I had 4 blankets. I was in sweats. I had socks, but I was the coldest I'd ever been. When I say cold, like, I didn't even know it was possible for somebody's body to be this cold. I hadn't eaten in days. I hadn't showered in God knows when. I didn't have clean clothes. I didn't have contact with any family. I had no way off that property. I was stuck. And for some reason, that it just snapped. I had just gotten through Christmas and New Year's without my family again for the 3rd year in a row. My dad's health was failing even more, and I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there for his treatments. My mom was laying awake at night wondering where the hell I was and if I was dead or alive. My kid was wondering if I was dead or alive. My sister needed me. She had her babies, and I didn't even know my niece. She had my niece, and I was in active addiction when my niece was born, and I never got to meet her until she was older. That kills me. I'm grateful for my relationship with all of them now. However, it hurts to think that I wasn't there for her, for her second child to be born. And it's just crazy. So I had enough. I snapped. I was by myself, and for some reason, the depths of despair it consumed me. It ate me, and I was done. And I went and I got enough drugs. I was doing it this time. I was going to just take a shot, and I was going to go to sleep. And in my mind, I was so desperate and so hopeless that my child was better off having a grave to visit me at than a junky ass mom that she didn't know where she was. That was my philosophy, because I didn't know there was another way of life, you guys. I didn't know that this was possible to recover. I didn't know what that looked like. And it seemed like such an uphill battle I could not climb, that I didn't even know where to start with all of that. So the only option in my eyes was death. And I was dead serious. I was done. I had written my goodbye letters to my family and my daughter. And for some reason, I felt absolutely compelled to hit that icy shade carpet on my knees, as cold as I was. And I heard this sound that was so shocking to me. Like, I thought it was something else outside. I didn't realize that the wails that I was hearing was coming from me. It was a cry that I had never heard myself cry before. And it was a desperation that I didn't know was even humanly possible to have. And it all came out in that moment. And I was shocked by the sounds that were coming out of me. And I just wailed. I just wailed and wailed and wailed. And I was shuddering. I was sobbing. I mean, my whole body was convulsing. I was crying so hard. And in that moment, everything from all those years of addiction and pain and trauma and everything I had gone through was coming out in that moment. So I said to God, I said, listen, I'm done. Like, I'm making a deal with you right now. If you've got something better for me, if this isn't my destiny to die a junkie, then you better tell me, and you better speak so I hear you, because I am done. This is it. I am done. I don't care if I go to hell for taking my life. I'd rather be there than here. And I said, please, God, if you have something better for me, if this isn't what you want me to do, you need to speak so I hear you. I don't know how I passed out. I don't remember passing out at all. I just remember just sobbing and praying and sobbing and praying. And the mic is going out, Gracie said. Hang on. Is that better, Gray? And so I just remember sobbing, and I woke up on the RV door that I was staying in. And I woke up and I was startled, and I was pissed. I was pissed because I was supposed to kill myself, damn it. And now it's morning, and now I got to wait for everybody to leave again before I can do it. And I was mad. And I hear there is about 4 sheriffs, 4 caseworkers, and Como 4 News out here at the gate. You know, they said that Is that better? Okay. They said that the property sold at auction and everybody's going to be cleared out of here and they're offering help to anybody that wants help. And so I completely like at first was pissed. And I said, who the fuck wants to talk to the cops? And that was my response. And then I was like, oh shit, it hit me in that instant that my prayers were being answered. My words were heard. God was speaking loudly. I mean, he couldn't be any louder. I mean, geez, you send a news crew and the cops and the sheriff and the, caseworkers from the sheriff's program at the gate. And that's what I woke up to that morning. And I went running out there. And when I say I was disheveled looking, that's an understatement. Mind you, I hadn't showered in days. We had no running water or power. I was dirty. I had soot on my face from, cooking up dope. You guys know, I mean, the other addicts out there know that black shit that gets all over your hands was all over my face. My hair was a mess. I probably looked absolutely like a lunatic and crazy. But I saw one person, and all those people that were standing at the gate, I saw one person. And she had a pink beanie, blonde hair, and the most inviting, kindest, and warm smile I'd ever seen in my entire life. That was my social worker. That was Amy Wheat. She is the opioid outreach specialist of Snohomish County. She goes out with the Office of Neighbors to the nuisance properties and offers help to the addicts out there that want a better life or want something different. I went running to her. I said, okay, I'll pack my bags. I can be ready in 5 minutes. And she's like, oh, that's not how it works. She's like, meet me at Starbucks in Lake Stevens. She wanted to see if I was really going to take the initiative to meet her. She wasn't going to just hand it to me. And I loved that. And so I've never in my life begged and pleaded for a ride to Starbucks by 11 a.m. the next day in Lake Stevens as I did for that ride, because I wasn't missing that. If I had to hoof it, I was going to do it. I didn't care. I'd made that walk several times. That was going to be nothing except for cold because it was winter and it had been snowing. So I got to that Lake Stevens appointment with her. She bought me breakfast and coffee. We sat down. She said, tell me your story. I told her. I sobbed and cried. And I told her what my experience was the night before, where I had prayed to God and had written my goodbye letters. I think I actually brought the goodbye letter I had written to my daughter and showed it to her. And I said, and I woke up to you guys being at the gate. And you could see that she just was like stunned. And I'm like, you saved my life, because I'm not turning back. And within a matter of days, we were going to get our assessments done at Catholic Community. And after that, it was a waiting game for a bed. And I, being, addicted to opiates and stuff, I had to do detox. So she told me, she said, I will be calling. The next call I make to you will be to let you know to pack your bags, get your affairs in order. So it ended up being that she got pneumonia really bad that year. So she was out for 2 weeks. But when she came back, things happened rapidly. I got the call from her that says, I'm picking you up at 10 a.m. Monday morning. Get your affairs in order. You're going to the diversion center, and that's where you're going to be until you get your bed and treatment. So I called my daughter. I begged for her to let me see her. I remember sharing the news with her, but she didn't believe me because I had already told her I was going to treatment 2 times before, and I blew that off. I took her Christmas presents. And you guys, when I tell you like how amazing it is to buy Christmas presents now for my kid, it's because those Christmas presents were stolen. That's how I provided Christmas for my kid. And it was a shitty Christmas at that. And it didn't feel good to do that. The first Christmas I had with her in recovery was absolutely incredible. She was in Mexico, but we got to have it when she got back. But the fact that I got to physically go and buy gifts with the money that I had earned as a productive member of society to give to my kid for Christmas was one of the most remarkable and amazing things ever in recovery, and a moment I'll never forget. But I digress. Anyways, so yeah, I went and saw her and I told her, and I was scared and apprehensive, but I kept telling her I'm not backing out, like I'm going. And I remember her telling me later that she waited for that call from Amy the next day to say that I was checked in. I didn't know that. She sat there and waited with bated breath to make sure mom went in and that mom was okay. And Amy did call her right away as soon as she got me checked in. And she said, she's there, kid. She's there. And I think Gracie said that she cried and just tears of joy. And just for the first time in a long time, she could breathe a sigh of relief that I was safe. She knew where I was at. And I was able to call her from there. I wasn't able to see her before I left for treatment, which was kind of frustrating. But I had a couple unfortunate things happen when I was at the diversion center. Some issues with getting me on Suboxone, my maintenance medication. I was in like full blown withdrawal, like for days. And if anybody that's been to the diversion center, the dorms are set up. I just remember laying in my bed on that 3rd day, and I had been so patient and so calm because this was the process, right? I knew that what I was going through, I had to go through and endure. And I kept telling myself, whatever it takes, man, to sit through it, whatever it takes, you're not leaving. And on that 3rd day, when I hadn't heard anything back about that, and I was starting to just really like writhe with pain from the withdrawals. And the girls in my dorm were fighting about some dumb ass box of crackers. And I snapped. I just lost my shit. And I got up. I'm all, shut the fuck up. And I went upstairs and I told them at the front desk, I said, give me my Suboxone right fucking now, because if you don't, I'm leaving. And they were like, well, we just got it in. We just finally came, but you have 10 minutes till med time. And I remember that Nate, the EMT from Diversion Center, comes up the stairs and goes, give her goddamn Suboxone. Don't make her wait no longer. Like, if that keeps her here, like, give her Suboxone. So it's crazy that, I mean, I'm glad he advocated for me, but I'm not like that normally. And I snapped and I was going to leave. It was either leave or blow the place up. So, that was that addict in me. And I remember, I can look back on it now and go, okay, that was the addict in me trying to control a situation or the outcome of a situation. But I could not stand at all to listen to any more women in my dorm room fight about stupid shit, especially when I'm laying there thinking about all the things that I have to fix now that I'm going to do this. You know, I started thinking about that hill I had to climb of problems. The wreckage I had left. I left so much wreckage behind in my using. And so I laid there and it kept me up and awake. And here they are fighting over a box of crackers. And I just wanted to smack them all. But I'm still good friends with a lot of them. But I was ready to hurt every one of them. So I was so grateful for the showers at the diversion center, man. I think my first day I took 3 hot showers because you have access to them. But it is 3 meals. It's 3 hots and a cot is what it is. And you're on the bottom floor of the jail. It's what it is. And it is a holding place for people who really want to get help and need to have a place to go that's safe, that has food, water, you know, shelter, all this other stuff, so that you can get your bed at treatment or get your clean and sober living. So I'm so grateful to the Diversion Center, and I'm so grateful to the Sheriff's Program and the Office of Neighborhoods. They've saved my life. They took a hill that I did not think I could climb. They did all the work as far as lining up the detox and the bed at treatment and my clean and sober living. However, they did not just hand it to me. There were things that I had to do and hoops that I had to jump through in order to get those things going for me. And I did every appointment I had to go to, every assessment at time I had to be at, every meeting with Amy I had to be at, and getting my affairs in order before I didn't take that lightly. I did exactly what was asked of me. So I just want to share, like, at 10 o'clock this morning, I wake up and I open my eyes, and how ironic that at 10 o'clock a.m., I'm opening my eyes on my 3 years clean. That is the exact same time that I was getting into the car with Amy to go to the diversion center from the trap house. I just thought, I mean, my God has mysterious ways of working. It is not a coincidence. It was so that I was in reflection today, that I could sit back and reflect upon where I was 3 years ago. He did that for a reason. And my higher power is God, and I don't care if it makes anybody else uncomfortable. I know some, fellowships don't talk about religion because it scares people off. When you are on your knees in a rundown motorhome in the freezing cold and you are wailing to the point where your body's convulsing and you're begging him and he does exactly what you begged of him to do, you tend to believe in God. He spoke to me, and you're not going to ever be able to tell me otherwise. So, yeah, I guess. And then from that moment on, I mean, I just kind of took it as, he answered my prayers, and I kind of had to run with it. I owed it to him to do my best at giving this a fair shot. Treatment wasn't easy. I went to Prosperity Wellness Center. I absolutely love that facility. It's a co-occurring dual diagnosis treatment facility. I always used to say, if I could get to the bottom of what I was numbing, I would not use again. And that is exactly what their philosophy is. You have to treat the other, addiction is a underlying issue. It's usually the symptom of a bigger problem. And for me, it was trauma. It was, depression, severe depression, that I had been unmedicated for a really long time. Mental health stuff runs on both sides of my family. And I have a chemical imbalance, and that's okay. It's not a character defect. It just is what it is. And so they put me I love you too, baby girl. I'll see you at home. Okay. Huh? Yeah. So Zoe. Yep. From a trailer on the highway to the apartment by the lake, or from the trailer to the tent to the apartment by the lake. So I just want to speed this up a little bit, you guys, because I don't want to keep everybody hostage tonight. But where my recovery has taken me is I took it serious. I started mending my relationships with my family, my daughter first and foremost. I was able to spend the last year of my dad's life with him and giving him peace of mind that I was clean, and that I would be okay, and that I was going to take care of his wife and my daughter. How do you break the cycle and keep this from happening to your daughter? Wow, that's a good question. What was the question? And I think this came from your dad. John is your dad? Yep. It says, how do you break the cycle and keep from happening to your daughter? That's an incredible question.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to answer it as open and honestly. And your son and I have a very big debate going on about this. It's, I believe that addiction is two parts. I believe that it is part disease and part choices. And I believe they go hand in hand. I also believe it is a symptom of bigger problems. A lot of them, mental health, trauma, grief, whatever it is, things that we suppress. I have made it a point in my recovery to be completely blatantly honest with my daughter, as uncomfortable as it might make her. I let her ask questions. I mean, and we talk openly raw about things, about my usage, things that I've done. And she's seen it firsthand, so she has no desire to go there. And that is true. And so she has seen it firsthand. She's seen what it's done to me and the people around me and the people that she genuinely loved. She knew where it got some of my friends that are no longer here on this earth because they've overdosed or they were murdered. My kid's got a very big grasp on the world. She's got a very good head on her shoulders. But let me be frank with you. I grew up watching my father drink. And so I was always vigilant about my drinking. I never wanted to be out of control because I didn't want to become an alcoholic. I never was prepared for what taking something that a doctor prescribed me would do to me, because that's how I started. And so as honest and candid as you can be about it, I still ended up the way that I did. But my sister didn't. My sister, who was 12 years younger than me, she is so amazing. She's an amazing mom. She's successful, and she hates drugs, hates them. She's never even had a desire to try them. So I hope for my daughter's sake that she's like her aunt. But I feel like it's kind of like a flip of a coin. I feel like if you are one of those kids that wants to experiment with drugs and you feel the need to do more, you should probably stop right away and get help, because that to me is that gene being flipped. I didn't drink much, but when I did, I would get blackout drunk. I liked to get drunk. I didn't drink because of the taste of that shit. I drank because I wanted to be completely schnockered, and out of my reality. That should have been a first indicator to me that maybe something wasn't right, but I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. I feel like this world that we live in today, that we need to be completely open and honest with our children. I feel like shielding them from this type of stuff is only going to hinder them. I want to be open with her. I want to show her all sides of it. And I tell her all the time, if you have friends that you're concerned about, bring them over. I'll talk to them. I don't know how we break the cycle. That is such a, and I mean, we don't know. I mean, education and open and honesty. And this is what it got me. Look what it did to me. I love telling my story, especially to people that are younger, because I'm hoping to stop their bad choices before they get there. Bad choices lead to finding out you have the disease. So that's where I think Johnny and I, we don't know that we're on the same page with that. I believe that it is the bad choices that lead you to find out you have the disease of alcoholism or addiction. I mean, it's, we all make a choice to use, we all make a choice to pick up, right? But none of us ever said on career day at school that we wanted to be a junkie or an alcoholic when we grow up. That sneaks up on us. So education is key, 100%. What a great question. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I just want to, in my recovery, I got to spend the last year of my dad's life taking care of him full time. I got to give him peace of mind. I got to be there with him as he took his last breath. I've got to show up for my family in ways that I can't even imagine. When my sister needs a week babysitter because of she doesn't have a babysitter during the summertime, I'm happy to pack my bags and go up there. But what I'm even more happier about is she trusts me to do that. She asked me to do that. My daughter, she trusts me. I've become more dependable. I've become more responsible. I am trying to be a productive member of society and do this thing right. But adulting sucks. So it's not been easy. This has been the hardest year of my life. I woke up this morning completely in amazement that I could say that I got 3 years, because at times this year, I wasn't sure if I could keep my clean date. It wasn't even so much that I wanted to use. It was just that I just hurt so bad. I just missed my father so much. And then my grandfather died not forgiving me. I got to make amends with everybody except for my grandpa Harry, and he died when I tried to make amends with him. He wanted nothing to do with me because of what I had done in active addiction. That kind of messed me up a little bit. That hadn't happened yet. Nobody had not forgiven me yet. And so I was blown away, and especially by somebody that was supposed to, grandparents should love you unconditionally, right? And so here's this person that should have loved me unconditionally, and he died not forgiving me, and that really screwed with me. It still messes with me a little bit, but I know that it was more of his issue than mine, and I'll just have to live with that. But I have gotten I'm nationally certified recovery coach. I'm the secretary of 5R Recovery. I have begun last week doing outreach with Ideal Options, going out into Sultan and Monroe and Snohomish, and out on the streets, boots to the ground, telling my story and offering help to other addicts that are suffering. I get to give back to the communities that I took from for so long. And that's kind of cool. And I feel like that's how you recover. You come full circle that way. I'm so grateful for the support. That's the big one. I have a massive support system around me. I surround myself with like-minded people, and I surround myself with people that are wanting to achieve the same things that I do. I love my recovery friends. They're my family, and I would do anything for them. I love 5R recovery. I love my family, and I love everybody that I've surrounded myself with. And I thank all of you, because I wouldn't be sitting here. Like, my recovery today is a big part and due to because of you guys. And I couldn't thank you enough. Like, today's a day to celebrate all of you that have been a part of my recovery and supported me and encouraged me. And I love all of you so much. So being here to help my recovery. Okay, watch. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And my best friend, she trusts me to watch her house. Everybody trusts me with their kids. Doing addiction. Yeah, I know, sister. I'm trying to read all the questions. I love all of you guys. Like, I'm super humbled today. And thank you, Johnny, for letting me have this opportunity to share my story. I haven't done that yet with 5R, except for going into the diversion center, which is something we get to do again. Johnny just asked me if what is she? The director agrees to it. I will be heading up the teams that go into the diversion center to speak and share their stories. And that is huge to me, because the diversion center is where I started my recovery. That really truly is coming full circle. So yeah, absolutely. Today you should also celebrate you. Thank you. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. I love everybody so much. I'm so excited. Hey!
That was so good.
Thanks,
so
guys.
good.
Kyle and I are like sloppy. We were both like, I was
Thanks,
like, no,
guys.
you go on camera. And he's like, no, you go on camera. I'm like, let's both not go on
Thank
camera.
you.
So
Thanks, guys.
Amanda is so good at spearheading projects, and it's so much better that she actually was a patient at the diversion center. So what better way for us to embrace the diversion center than somebody who has actually spent time there on the outside and on the inside, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Relatability is absolutely crucial. The diversion center here in Everett is a spectacular program. If they had more diversion centers, I honestly think they would make a bigger impact on the world and the addiction aspect of it.
Yeah.
I like that Amanda and I have differences of opinions on certain things. There is no reason why I should have everybody thinking and acting exactly like me and 5R. I mean, it's not just that she differs in opinion. She's incredibly smart and she knows stuff. So when somebody wants to have a debate or a discussion and they don't have any facts or they don't have any knowledge, it's different. But when they actually know about what's going on, you owe it all to God.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Amen.
Yeah, I do.
Amen.
Absolutely. My story
Jody.
is one of God. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or should I say my dad, or is he on here too?
Both of them.
They're both on
I
here?
can't wait to meet them.
Yeah, you'll meet them.
Like, I feel like I already know them.
Of course. And so thank you guys for
you.
being involved in this. We're going to do one every single Monday night at 7. We're going to continue to do this. We're also going to do one every Saturday at 11.
Yep.
We right now, I've watched her. She's completely dedicated to this. And we got to figure out how to make the comments bigger, because I'm tired of all the squinting down. Oh, are you saying I'm blind? Is that what
you're
you're
wearing
saying?
glasses, my friend?
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. It's hard because I can't see it. I'm even wearing glasses. Yeah. Brittany, and who are all these people? Daniel.
So
Dan Hillman,
that's Zoe.
obviously.
That's my best friend. That's your family, Dan Hillman.
Okay.
And then my sister, and
awesome.
and
thank you everyone for participating.
And Randy, we've had and Pat turned in, and Gracie tuned in. She just checked out, I think.
Yeah.
Morgan, I can yell LOL. I love you guys so much. Like, you guys have been amazing.
Amanda is an amazing person. Your testimony tomorrow night. She's celebrating her 3-year birthday right here at New Life Church at 6:30. There will be cake. What you read blind?
You read blind, Johnny.
Oh, what does he say?
Read blind. And I'm not picky,
I am
but
blind.
I prefer cheesecake if anybody's listening to that. Like, I'm just saying.
Jeez.
Like
I was going to bring a chocolate.
Okay, I'll bring one myself if that's the case. You guys, I mean, like, hey, I just can't do cake.
I will look for a cheesecake platter tomorrow, or whatever they do. Okay. So come please celebrate us tomorrow night on Tuesday nights.
Yes.
So a couple of updates. I don't want to talk too much because her testimony was so amazing. And I think we might have to edit this last part out just so it's
it's shorter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, just so it's all you. I don't want to be involved in your testimony.
Thanks.
I mean, I think it's an amazing story, and here I am. So I'm going to do a couple announcements. Okay. So clean and sober living facilities. We are going to 2 clean and sober living facilities once a month, hopefully sometime sooner, to talk about 5R and the formula and everything that's going on in our lives. We're also going to be venturing back into the diversion center, which is amazing. Our goal is to reach people on the streets, in treatment, in clean and sober housing, and eventually out into the real world. Our whole goal is there to not be a gap in between those circumstances.
Yep, absolutely.
We want to bring you real, raw recovery. We don't want to sound insensitive, but we do talk to you about some rough and tough stuff sometimes.
We are. Yeah, we do. When we're blunt, and because we don't, sugarcoat and doesn't save lives. So
if
I pussyfoot around it, you're going to die.
For
That's
sure.
that simple.
Yep. So we thank you all for watching. You ready? You good?
Yep, ready?
Do you have a close? Anything to do?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Beautiful. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. That was actually really good.